We have two issues tonight. We have a special called meeting and an emergency meeting. The special call meeting was advertised and announced at our last meeting that we had. So we have met the qualifications for that, and we're here tonight specifically for it to discuss the purchase of property. And what we have is some real estate agreements that we have at the 212 exit that are slated for closing, and we're here tonight to discuss that. And then as we move past that, just as a formality, Roger, are we going to need to adjourn and then come back into the emergency meeting, or can we do both of those things back to back?
You can do them back to back.
Okay. All right. So then we'll move in and discuss the issues that we have.
We're going to move through the agenda.
Oh.
No, you do not.
Okay.
No, you do not.
All right, so we'll go in and talk about the property purchases, and then we'll talk about the courthouse. Before we go in, let's just stick with our normal order, and if y'all will stand, and Mr. Jimmy Hardy, if you will, lead us in a prayer and pledge.
Let's pray. Father, we just come to you tonight. We just thank you, God, for this day. We just pray that you just give us the wisdom and the knowledge to do the business of the county, Lord. Father, just lead us and guide us, Lord, and be sure to give you the honor and glory. Let our light shine through the community. In Jesus' name, amen. Attention, salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, guys, we'll call our meeting to order. And Miss Sylvia, if you will, make sure that the minutes reflect that we do have a quorum and that all commissioners are present. Give y'all an update on what I know, and then we'll move forward from there.
Approve the agenda, Mr. Chairman, before we do.
Could we get a motion to approve the agendas as presented?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as permitted on both the purchase of property and the emergency meeting.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right. So there's been a lot of movement this week with the farm center, and maybe some positive movement, but still not enough movement for me to advise this commission to move forward with purchasing that property. So I had a conversation with some of the Alpha leadership today. They contacted the IDA after lunch, and then I had a conversation later this afternoon personally. But they have had a kind of a closed door meeting all day today, trying to put a plan together. Their biggest issue are the clawbacks, and we've had a very productive meeting with the city, and we think we've resolved all of the issues that Alpha has put in place except the clawbacks. And what we're trying to negotiate with them now is what a reasonable extension of time is, and we all feel that that's going to be something that we can do together. So with all of the developments that we've had today, we've had some discussion about trying to buy some more time to put together a plan that can be committed on by them and by us. I reached out to the property owners that we have under contract today and asked them, with the permission of the commission tonight, would they be willing, without any other earnest money, to give us a 60-day extension? And they said that they would. And so I guess what I'm going to ask for tonight is that we not close on the property on the closing dates that are slated, but that y'all allow our real estate team to negotiate and sign 60-day extensions on these opportunities out there. It'll be at no cost to the county. That's been an agreement that we all talked about today, and all of these landowners want to see this come. They see it as a great opportunity for them and a great opportunity for the county. So Any other movement or discussion, or do we have a resolution?
Yeah, I'd like to make a resolution to ask the landowners for a 60-day extension on closing on the two road properties.
We have a motion. We have a second. Floor is open for discussion.
Will we have these agreements before the closing dates listed on here?
Roger, can you have these agreements prepared before the 12th, which I think is the first closing?
11th.
The 11th.
It has to be, and Monday's a, keep in mind that Monday's is a holiday.
Well, in anticipation of this may be where y'all might go, I already prepared the amendments.
Okay.
It'll be just a matter of circulation for signatures.
Okay. So as long as we get them signed before, Monday's date, which is the first closing on the property and the
And I spoke to the Shannon Walcheck real estate agent that owns the Littleton property, so he wasn't consistent. The only one that's really on that short fuse is Sue and then Wade Connell's, which were both good next week. Littleton was not
Yeah.
closed until October 24th anyway.
So Sue is the first place on Monday.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, shouldn't we have this done before we meet Tuesday, just in case they decide they don't wanna do that, then we can vote?
Well, they gonna have to do it before Monday.
At least Sue hopes we'll have
Oh,
it
this
signed.
coming Monday,
coming.
okay.
Yeah,
I
this
thought
coming
you were talking about Monday week.
No,
Okay.
Yeah, Sue's closing date comes up, and then Wade's is later next week, so those are the two that we got the time constraints on. Not us backing out, not us losing earnest money, but us getting a little bit more time to decide if we're waving bye to the project or if we're gonna have it. And Alpha said as late as this afternoon that they still fully intend to come through with the project.
Without just so I'm clear, without adding more earnest money, correct?
Right.
Okay. That's all I have.
We had one of the landowners that said if there's any additional earnest money put out, they want some, but if nobody else gets any, they're okay with not having any. But we're at this point, I don't think we should offer earnest money, because this is,
I will not be voting to offer more earnest money at this point.
we have a resolution, that does not include earnest money.
That's right.
Okay, so we have a second.
You already had a
Any
second.
other discussion? Having none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, and we'll move on to the courthouse roof. And I have not been very involved in this, so some of you who have kind of take over this discussion.
Well, I have been involved in the roof, but I thought Tony was going to be here tonight to give us a price on what that roof is going to cost. That's what I was told.
So Roger, let me bring Roger into this discussion. Roger and I talked about earlier in the week the proposed cost of the roof, and if that would necessitate a bid. And Roger told me earlier in the week that if it is truly an emergency, we can declare it an emergency tonight and move forward with getting a roof put on it. And if we're going to go out for bid, you're going to have to prepare a bid spec and then circulate it for a number of days. But what we could do is let Miss Sylvia, with the aid of a couple of our courthouse designees from the commission, go out and solicit 2 or 3 prices, and then we could potentially have that done in time to vote on it soon and not have another flooding issue.
So what you're saying, we would vote tonight to do that, but not vote tonight to spend the money to do it, because... Go ahead, Joseph. And I'm gonna hit on that too, Joseph. I'm gonna hit on that just for a minute. In 2016, we had this same problem, and it flooded the courthouse up top on the 3rd floor. And the reason that is because our drains are higher than the roof line. There's bubbles up there. And I was sharing this with Sylvia, and I hadn't had a chance to talk with Tony. But the problem is when you get the amount of rain, which is about 4 to 5 inches rain we had in 2.5 to 3 hours, this courthouse, the drains are so, when they do get they can't keep up with the flow of it, okay? So my thought was, we are talking to some volunteers that are volunteering to try to come up with a plan to present to the commission about a courthouse I don't have a problem with getting prices, okay? Because if you don't put a hip roof on this courthouse, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. Last time I got a price, it was $1.2 million to do it right, okay? Here's another thing you got to worry about. Up there, that little extension that we have, that we just put that new air conditioner stuff and the boiler stuff, it's hard. That's why it's going to be so expensive, because you got to figure out what you're going to do that. That's an additional up here where the courthouse roof's right here and it ties together. So, my suggestion would be to find a way, possibly to Tony or get with someone, that we can put some kind of pump up there that will trigger a sump pump. He said, well, you got to have a sump. Well, let me tell you something. You got a sump when there's that much water up there on top of the courthouse. And because if you go up there, and that's why when they called me about it, I said, if you think it's bad there, go on top of the courthouse, because there's big humps. There's just huge swells in it. To find a way till we could contain the water and get it dispersed off. Because, again, in 2016 we had this problem, and yes, it flooded. And another thing we're going to recommend is not putting carpet back up there, putting some kind of vinyl up there in them offices. And they're going to have vinyl, guys, and I will face it. And that's something we cannot get around. It stinks. I've never been up there, so just take my word for it. You don't have to go up there, but you can.
So is there a way to lower the drains, Jimmy?
There's no way to lower the drains without putting a roof in it. Unless you go in there, if we can get a roofer to tell us that they can go in there where the drains are not and build. Well, you can't build a drain. There's no way to lower the drains. You can do this though. Well, you can't do that.
Why can't you cut the top out of the drain?
Well, the drain, the floor's here. The drain's here.
Yeah,
But
why can't you cut the
drill a
top out
hole
of the
through
drain?
wall?
Why can't you cut the top out of the drain? It's a pipe, isn't it?
No, it's holes in the roof.
So the roof is settled around.
The roof is flat. Okay, yeah, the roof is settled around the drain. And see what it does? It goes through the courthouse and comes out. There's drains. There's several drains that come, and actually goes down through the sidewalk. Some of them come out through the sidewalk. But without going up there and looking at it, my idea is to take a hose pipe up there and just fill this thing up with water, or fire department, I don't care how we do it, and find out what the lowest spot we have. Because what it is, it's also filling in one corner, so there is going to be a way to contain this water so that we can pump it out. The ideal is to keep that water pumped out, because what it does, it just rises and rises and rises and rises and rises, and it finally gets up to the drain. Well, by that time, it's over the knee walls, part of it, the bad part, and it's in our courthouse. Now,
well, it certainly doesn't make sense to spend $1.2 million putting a roof on this building.
No, sir, not a hip roof. And
I've never been up there, but is there a way to do like self-leveling compound to bring the floor up?
Well, see, what it is, Matt, is that's a rubber floor up there, and it's been flooded so many times. The membrane and everything.
Now, is it rubber? Is it tar and gravel?
Well, I'm going to say rubber because it looks rubber.
So that's why it bubbles.
And it's several layers, and it's rubber. Because you can see, the reason I say it's rubber, tar and gravel won't swell like that. Rubber will. It builds a bubble. You can still actually see a bubble up there when it's holding water. And like I said, guys, this is nothing new to us. I presented this to the commission in 2017-16, and at that time we didn't know what direction it was going. We didn't even have enough revenue to do what it was doing. But But also, I don't want to just jump at this and say, because we bought the air conditioning system up there, we bought the boiler, which we bought that with the sign of we can transfer that to something else. We did do that. You can't transfer that roof once it's up there, it's done. And I think that the volunteer people that's going to get together, we're going to come up with a good, sufficient plan for the courthouse.
You want to just wait a little while and us not vote?
I'd say let's try to go another route besides putting the roof on it. That's what I'm saying. Something like that.
So y'all remember a couple of years ago when we had the flash flood and the basement flood?
Mm-hmm.
So out here at the handicap access door, there's a metal collection there where the water runs down the ramp. And inside of that metal collection basin, there are 3 sump pumps in there. And as that water, when we have those heavy rains, those sump pumps keep the water out of the courthouse. On that particular day, 2 of the 3 failed. Whatever reason, and there are reasons behind that, but they've been addressed. But
if you want, I can get with Tony this week. Let's him and I get together and just come up with a plan with the roofers and see and bring it back to commission by Tuesday. Well, Tuesday will be probably early. Okay,
pretty weather toward the end of the weekend.
That's right.
Check the showers, or check the change.
but keep in mind, it's only a torrential rain.
It's just, they just look at this thing, do some checking.
Yes, sir.
About spending
Yeah.
$150,000 for a roof or $1 million for a roof.
Just to remind you, the last time it done it, it also flooded in downtown Clanton. Same way.
Yeah.
It flooded the
We,
same way.
and that's been what was it,
2016, yes, sir.
So we could potentially have 4 or 5 years left.
We're going to protect our citizens and our employees. I mean, we've already looked at it. There's nothing hazard there. If there's anything going, so we're going forward. We're going to replace that with vinyl too. Hopefully. Did he come and give us a price, or do you know? Vinyl. He hasn't yet. And do you know what that was? Bitumen?
Should be that, vinyl that's seamed.
That's putting a flat roof back on it, though.
That's the only thing you can do.
Let's see. Here's one more thing. Here's what we got to worry about. Okay, so we got this price to put a roof on. Okay, we ain't tore what's up under it, guys. So your 115 can very well go to 215 very quick, light and hurry. And guess what you do? Once you tear it out, you're done. You got to do something about it. So that's why I said let's don't pull the trigger too quick.
Well, if y'all think we're in good enough shape that we're not getting people rained on, let's try to find a better decision.
Yes.
Y'all okay with that? So we're all aware of it. We're working on it. If anybody asks. Good. All right. So anybody?
I move we
have any-
adjourn.
Okay, we got a
Second.
motion. We got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Thank you.